Hey everyone, it's Magic Steve. I'm here for RTGomer.com, and I just saw Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the 2014 version. Now, I'm going to go over this real quick. I know a lot of you don't like long vlogs. I'm going to try and keep it relatively short, but I want to hit some main points. For those who just want to know if it's worth seeing, I'll tell you right now, kinda. I mean, look, it's not god-awful, but it is bad. It is a bad movie, but there is some good stuff in it. I'll tell you right now, Cliff Notes, if you are interested in seeing it, go see it. Don't let me stop you either way. But personally, I would say it's more of a rental when it comes out on DVD. That being said, I'm going to get into the spoilers section of the review, so if you don't want spoilers, shut it off now and we'll go from there. Okay, when I got to the theater, I should mention this was an 8 o'clock showing the night before it debuted. Now, they tried this last week with Guardians of the Galaxy, and all the shows were sold out. I mean, just a packed house every time. So I got there early. I didn't know how it was going to be. I mean, it's a kid's movie. Those tend to do, well, kind of a kid's movie, kind of not. We'll go into that later. The point is, I got there early, and it was dead. I mean, there was hardly anyone there. I mean, by the time the movie started, yeah, we had maybe half the theater full, but that's not a good sign for this film. The movie was different. I mean, it was a different adaptation. It's a newer storyline, taking the same characters and putting them in a slightly different setting. But let me tell you this right now. I love the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I loved them ever since I was a kid. In fact, if you ask anyone in my family what my biggest addiction has ever been, other than Captain Morgan, it was the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And but that being said, I'm not a TMNT purist. I fully recognize you can take a franchise, you can take a property, you can reinvent it, you can change it up. I'm all for that. There's nothing, it's just a different version of the same story. That being said, they just didn't do it very well. What I'm going to do now is go into good and bad. So I'm going to tell you what I liked and what I thought was pretty bad. First off, I loved Michelangelo. Whoever scripted his lines, brilliant. I mean, in a movie that's got a lot of comic relief, he definitely stands out. He's voiced by Noel Fisher, who, from what I see, was in Twilight and a few other small things. I don't know, but fantastic job on Michelangelo. They kept him true to the character while updating him for 2014. He doesn't have so much of the surfer language or mannerisms, but he's more like a laid-back dude, kind of like a bro. They made him into a bro, but and I know that sounds terrible, but it works. It totally works for what they were doing. Also, Vernon Fenwick from the cartoon. The first time I believe he's been adapted to live action. He's fantastically played by Will Arnett. They give him some great lines. Basically, the whole movie he's trying to score with April, and obviously he's not successful. Well, they leave it kind of open at the end, but that's besides the point. Fantastic job by both of them. Surprisingly, I thought one of the best actors in the movie, and I can't believe I'm saying this, Whoopi Goldberg. Yeah, that Whoopi Goldberg. She, I don't know what it is. She's barely on screen. Like, she probably has a total of 3 minutes screen time in the entire movie. But for those 3 minutes, she is selling the hell out of it, guys. I mean, it's almost like she hasn't been in the public limelight for a long time, and she's just happy to be here. I mean, she really gives it her all. And it's just every time she's on screen, it's very entertaining. My brother came with me to watch it, and him and I both agreed she was one of the best parts of the movie. So yeah, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and the best part was Whoopi Goldberg. I'm not kidding. This part I'm going to lose some of you on, but just bear with me. One of the big changes they made to this adaptation, the Foot Clan are no longer ninjas. I mean, they have some, martial arts training, but they're paramilitary. They wear SWAT gear. They have a kind of ninja, kind of Swattish masks on. It's weird to describe. But they carry guns. Yeah, no swords, nothing like that. They are out, and I freaking love that. I mean, that's how it should be. If you really had a group like the Foot Clan existing nowadays, they would be paramilitary. They would be a militia. They would not be a group of ninjas running around with swords. They would have fucking guns, and they would use them. And they do, and it's awesome. I know a lot of people were upset about that, but I personally think it was great. One thing that I thought, and it needs to be addressed, the Turtles themselves, all of them are portrayed really well. I mean, none of the voice actors give a bad performance, and the mocap guys do a good job. In fact, most of the time they were motion captured by the voice actors, with the exception of Leonardo. I'm not sure who his motion capture guy was, but they later on dubbed over his voice, or they revoiced him with Johnny Knoxville of all people, and I was really worried about that going in, but Johnny Knoxville actually he's okay. He doesn't ham it up. He's not who I would picture as, Leonardo, but he does a fine job. I already mentioned Michelangelo, his voice actor does a good job. Donatello, whoever's doing him, is trying really, really hard to emulate Rob Paulson. As well he should. I mean, it's a fantastic voice. And he does a good job. The only thing with Donatello, they nerd him up a little too much, I thought. Like, he's got the taped up glasses, and they kind of make him like their idea of what a nerd should be. And I mean, it's fine. It's an adaptation. It's one version of Donatello. Raphael, also very good. I mean, he's the typical angry badass that he always is. Played by one of the guys, I can't remember his name. One of the guys from the Hunger Games, from Catching Fire, Gloss. Great job. I mean, the Turtles overall, also their interplay, the way they talk to each other, they interact, they really do seem like brothers. Like, they bicker, they fight, but in the end, they get along. I mean, it's done very well. The Turtles are not the problem with this movie at all. The action in the movie is kind of hit or miss. I can't say there were any bad actions. Okay, I take that back. There was one bad action sequence when we're seeing a flashback of Splinter training the Turtles, and I'll get to that in the bad section. They do a lot of wire work. They make the Turtles exceptionally strong, like stronger than we've ever seen them. So, I mean, where in the past you would see them punch a guy, here they punch him and they fly halfway across the room and break some, concrete or bricks against the wall. I mean, they're badass. And now the bad. Strap in, folks. First off, the pacing. Right from the very beginning, as soon as the movie starts, we see a comic book style animation detailing the history of the Turtles. Like, bang, right from the get-go, we have Splinter voicing over, and Splinter I'll get to in a minute. Splinter's voicing over the history, the mutagen, the ooze, and all that. Like, in the first minute, we get the entire backstory. And it seems a little rushed. I mean, I know we all know the story, but they're essentially revamping the franchise, they're rebooting it. And it's kind of just like, meh, here we go. And the entire movie's like that. It feels like they want to have a film that packs in as much shit as they can, and they forgot to spend time on any certain thing to give it enough time to progress and develop. The CGI is, I say it's about 20% good, 80% bad. When it's good, it's really good. Especially the stuff you guys see in the trailers, for the most part, that looks fantastic. Really, anytime they're in the dark, they look amazing. I mean, they really look like they're there. But you get them moving too fast, or can't talk. You get them moving too fast, or especially in like bright sunlight, and they just look terrible, guys. It just looks like a cartoon. The same goes for Shredder. Any fight with Shredder and a turtle, it looks like a cutscene from a video game. It looks like Mortal Kombat. That's the level of quality that this movie has. And hey, that's great for a video game. If I were playing this, I'd be like, badass, it's awesome. But I paid to see a movie. I want it to look real. And unfortunately, most of the time, it just doesn't. Megan Fox. That's all I'm going to say. Megan Fox. I feel like they made Splinter out to be an abusive dad. Seriously, he is meaner than any version of Splinter I've ever seen. I mean, he beats the shit out of the Turtles. I mean, he still talks about how he loves them. They're his sons and all that. But for most of the time you see him, which isn't that much. And by the way, he's voiced by Tony Shalhoub. I didn't even know that. I had to look it up online. And it's not a bad performance. It's just weird. The voice doesn't really seem to fit the character model. But aside from that, he just is an angry, mean asshole throughout the whole movie. And it's entertaining, but I don't know how I feel about that. Shredder is not terrible, but he's not exactly good. In the very beginning of the movie, And I don't want to spoil too much, but there's a scene where he's bound behind his back and kneeling on the ground, and he has one of his soldiers try to attack him to test him. And the movie's sidekicks. The Nostalgia Critic did a review. I'm sure a lot of you have seen it. There's a scene where this old guy is mocking someone, and he says, "Your name is Mr. Dumpling, and you fight in a very deceptive manner by smashing the fists of your opponents with your own face." And I mean, it's obviously meant as a joke. You're not supposed to do that, but Shredder fucking does. I mean, I'm not kidding at all. The very first scene that you see Shredder, he actually attacks someone's fist with his face. Like when the guy goes to punch him, he leans into it, and you hear a snap, and he like catches it under his chin and crushes the. He beats the shit out of someone with his head, and it's both hilarious and awesome at the same time. I like pre-Armor Shredder better than Armor Shredder. The whole side of his face is scarred up. It looks kind of like Phantom of the Opera. It looked cool. But this is why it's in the bad column and not the good column. I was getting to that. You're probably wondering, well, he's saying he's pretty cool. The mech suit. They made his armor because it's Michael Bay, and it's 2014. It's got to be over the top. They gave him, kind of like they gave Rhino in Amazing Spider-Man 2, they gave him a mech suit. And it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be, but it's just unnecessary. Like, he's got, like on his arm, it's got like 5 blades that shoot out, and he can shoot them and magnetically pull them back to his arm, and it's just, why does he need this shit? He's supposed to be a master of the ninja arts. He's supposed to be a master martial artist. He doesn't need the gimmicks. And it just serves to be distracting. It's like, okay, yeah, it's boring. It's excessive to the point of being dull. On this part, I don't know how much I should give away. I don't know how much I can give away, but the storyline they use with April and how she's connected to they interweave everything in this. Nothing is like outside and they don't meet by chance. Everything's connected and they all have a past history. And that includes April and the Turtles. And it's fucking ridiculous. Like, it's gotta be the I'm sorry, I'm getting a headache just thinking about it. The character Eric Sachs that you see in the trailer, the childhood kind of family friend of April, who, spoiler alert, is a bad guy. Didn't see that one coming. There was no reason for him to exist. He basically Baxter Stockman. He absolutely could have been replaced with Baxter Stockman. You could have just changed his name. That's all he had to do. They do have a lot of throwbacks to both the cartoon, the 80s cartoon, and the live action movie. Little things like dialogue. Shredder at one point, when he finds out about the turtles, he's going to get them. He's like, "Tonight I dine on turtle soup." And I laughed for like 5 minutes. That was very funny. So overall, guys, I have to say the movie's not terrible. It's not as bad as a lot of people thought it was going to be, but it's definitely not good. Like I said at the beginning, I would recommend renting it when it comes out on DVD. If you're really curious or you're a diehard Turtles fan, go see it in theaters. You're not going to be, like, at least you shouldn't be overly pissed about it, but there's nothing special here that needs to be seen in the theater. The 3D, I saw it in 3D. It wasn't bad. I've seen far worse, but it wasn't special. I mean, you're not missing anything by seeing it in 2D, so go get a 2D ticket. Overall, I give this one 2.5 pizzas out of 5. It's not good. But again, there are some things about it that save it from being completely horrible. So that's my review. Hope you guys liked it. Again, if you want to see me watch another movie or do another one of these vlogs, comment below, and turtle power, motherfuckers. Turtle power.